welcome to Monday Morning Marriage Minute. And I don't know if you remember the Jerry Maguire movie, but there's a scene in there at the very end, and it's one of those scenes that always tugs at the woman's heart. Tom Cruise runs into the room at the house at the end of the movie, and he does sign language, and he looks at, the woman, whoever she is. I didn't really care for the movie, but anyway, he looks at the woman, and he does the sign language and says, you complete me. By the way, that's not real sign language. That's just what we do for TV. But he goes, you complete me. And he's looking at the woman like, you are what makes me whole and complete. I don't know if you've ever been in a relationship. Maybe you felt that way. But what happens is a few months or maybe a few years later, you feel like you deplete me. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And here's why. Because the last Monday Morning Marriage Minute, boy, it set off a storm. I have never gotten so many emails, Facebooks, texts, everything. And they basically divided it into two camps. Now, if you don't remember what last Monday Morning Marriage Minute was about, it was this. The best way to make sure or to protect your marriage from an affair is to have a healthy, consistent, regular, fun sex life. And so all the emails basically broke down into two camps. One, men and women, the reason why my spouse had an affair isn't because we didn't have sex. It's because they were a jerk or selfish or whatever. The other camp broke down basically into this. And many times the email started like this. Looking back on my past relationship or marriage, I came to realize that yes, I did add to the problem because we did not have a regular sex life because I didn't want to. And so I'm still standing by my point because the fact still remains that the best way, one of the best ways to safeguard your marriage is to have a consistent regular sex life. But here's the problem. The more people thought about this and the more I read emails, they were assuming simply that if you don't have sex, that spouse then has an excuse to have an affair. You never get an excuse to have an affair, period. Zero. Which leads me to the point of you deplete me. We have to start back to one of the biggest lies ever talked about when it comes to marriage. You hear this a lot at wedding ceremonies, and we have to look at Genesis, when God starts creating things. Every time he creates something, he says, it is good. Creates the heavens and the earth, it's good. Creates the animals, it's good. Creates plants of the field, it's good. Now, good seems like a limited word, because I don't know if you are, thinking what I'm thinking, but if I create the stars, me, Garth, I'm going to go, whoa, it's better than good, man. It's amazing. Have you seen the stars? They're amazing. Okay, but the word there, good, means complete. Means no more than it should be, no less than it should be, all that it's supposed to be to operate and function wholly. So when he creates Adam, he looks at Adam and says, it is good. First time he says it is not good is when he looks at Adam and sees him alone. And he says, it is not good that Adam is alone. So he creates Eve. Now here's where that little myth and that little rub falls into place. It says that Adam creates Eve and the two become one. And people start to preach that or believe that or hear that as they become one, they become complete. Oh, they're complete. But here's the real thing that happens is if you believe that, then a few months or a few years into your relationship, when that person doesn't complete you, you go, I married the wrong person. If I would have married the right person, they'd complete me. Your completion isn't found in the other person. Your completion is found in a relationship with Christ. But we'll get there in time. So what happens is you marry this person, they don't complete you, so you have all these reasons and excuses, and there's all these problems because we think the two become one means just that, complete. Here's the illustration I'll leave you with. You have a bolt. It's a perfectly machined bolt. It's made out of titanium. It's unbreakable. It's amazing. But it's a bolt, and it's good. It's whole. It's all that it should be. And it's complete, but it's not good that that bolt is alone. Guys, you're the bolt, okay? God created you as the bolt. What that bolt needs to be a team to really fulfill its purpose is a nut. Sorry, girls, you're the nut. But it's a perfectly manufactured, milled, again, titanium nut, unbreakable, amazing. It's perfect. but it needs a bold. And when God said the two shall become one, that's when he's saying you will become this incredible team to work together. You don't fulfill each other because you're perfect in and of yourselves. You just complete one another. But let's go back to what happens in the garden. They sin enters the world, and now they've lost their perfection. They've lost their completeness in who Christ is. And that's why Christ died on the tree. It says in Galatians that anyone who dies on a tree is cursed, and he takes that curse from us. Now the cool thing is I've talked to couples and I've said, look, I want you to look at each other and I want you to tell each other right now, you can't complete me. And you'll see a huge weight lifted off their shoulders, because you can't complete me and I can't complete you. That's only found in Christ. So if your spouse is running off having an affair, that's because there's a need there that they think you should have fulfilled, but they can have fulfilled in their relationship with Christ. Now, is it hard if you don't have a spouse that's sweet or nice or sexually active? It's hard, but that doesn't mean that you still can't find your completion in Christ. Not happiness. Happiness depends on what happens outside. It's happenstance. Fulfillment comes from inside. That comes in and through your relationship with Jesus. You don't even have to be a Christian. You don't have to be religious to figure this out. Another person will not fulfill you. That has to come from the inside. This is Monday Morning Marriage Minute. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and the like. You can send your comments or your suggestions or your hate email to 1minutemarriage@gmail.com. And remember to spend time with your spouse. They're your best friend. We'll see you next week.